All right, let's get right into it. What we're looking at today isn't just another market trend. No, this is much bigger. We're dissecting a financial crisis that's brewing in Nepal's hotel industry. But, and this is the important part, this isn't about doom and gloom. We're handing you a strategic guide, a playbook really, for how to navigate what's coming. So let's dive in. This quote, it just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? It perfectly captures the urgency here. You see, for years, this wave of new hotel construction has been building up, quietly. But that quiet is about to end. It's about to get very, very loud as all these new rooms flood a market that, frankly, just can't handle them. And let me be crystal clear about something. What we're about to go through, this isn't some abstract forecast or a guess about the future. If you're a hotel owner, an investor, or an operator in Nepal, think of this as your practical playbook for survival. The goal isn't to scare anyone. It's to make sure you're prepared. Okay, first things first, we've got to reframe the problem. A lot of people think, oh, it's just a lack of tourists. But that's not the real story. The real issue is much deeper. It's structural. This is a crisis that was born from debt, from over-leveraged balance sheets that were basically betting on a future that, well, just isn't showing up on time. And this right here, this slide just lays it all out. The gap between what everyone thought would happen and what's actually happening. You see on the left, that was the dream, right? An endless upward curve of high-spending tourists. That's what fueled the whole construction boom. But the reality on the right, well, it's a much slower, more linear recovery. And it's skewed towards budget travelers, not the big spenders. That mismatch, that's the core of the entire problem. Let's put a hard number on this to make it real. For all these shiny new luxury hotels to even be viable, Nepal would need something like 2.5 million high-value tourists coming in every single year. The current projections? They're not even in the same ballpark. And that creates this massive, totally unsustainable gap between supply and what the market actually demands. So what happens next? It's pretty inevitable, really. Imagine you've got 10 hotels, all pretty much the same, fighting over just 5 customers. What's the only tool they think they have? Price. They start slashing rates, and that triggers a race to the bottom. It's a brutal price war that's just going to crush revenues and cripple profits for everyone. So the big question is, how do you survive a price war like that? Well, it starts with a mindset shift. You have to let go of the single most dangerous metric in a crowded market, and that's the obsession with being 100% full. Instead, your focus has to pivot entirely to something called RevPAR. That's revenue per available room. You know, this one number, it's the truest measure of your hotel's financial health. Why? Because it perfectly balances 2 things: how full you are and the actual price people are paying for those rooms. And this table is the perfect example of why this matters so much. Just look at Hotel A. They're chasing occupancy, right? So they slash their rate down to 6,000 rupees, and hey, they get 90% full. Looks good on the surface. But now, look over at Hotel B. They're focused on RevPAR. They hold their rate at 10,000, and they only fill 60% of their rooms. But what happens at the end of the day? Hotel B actually makes more money. Their total revenue is higher, and their RevPAR is better. They're working smarter, not just harder. And here's the kicker. It's not even just about the revenue. Think about it. Hotel B has 30 times fewer rooms to clean, to cool, to service every single day. That means lower costs. We're talking less laundry, a smaller electricity bill, less staff time. So the result isn't just a little more revenue, it's substantially higher profit. And profit is the only thing that pays the bills, services the debt, and guarantees you'll survive. Okay, so with revenue under all this pressure, the next battleground is obviously going to be on the cost side of the equation. This brings us right to our second core strategy, taking what is usually a hotel's most unpredictable, volatile expense and turning it into your greatest financial weapon. So the question every hotel operator has to ask themselves is this: is your energy bill just something that happens to you, an unpredictable cost that you just have to grit your teeth and pay? Or is it something you can actually control and maybe even turn into a strategic advantage? You know, the old way of doing things is a complete trap. It means you're totally dependent on an unreliable grid. And every time the power cuts out, you're firing up generators and burning through incredibly expensive imported diesel. The new way, though, is all about financial independence. It's about making a strategic investment in self-sufficiency, using things like rooftop solar panels and battery storage. And the impact this has on your bottom line it's huge. It's not a small thing. An energy-efficient hotel is operating with a permanently lower cost base. That creates a healthier, fatter profit margin. And that margin acts like a financial moat around your business. It means you can withstand a price war for longer, you have money to invest back into the guest experience, and you can just flat out outperform your competitors. Look, this isn't just about being green, it's about being profitable. So, we've laid out the problem and we've talked through the solutions. Now we arrive at the reckoning. Because make no mistake, the market will correct itself. It always does. The only real question is, what's that correction going to look like, and where is your property going to land when the music stops? This timeline really puts it all into perspective. We've already lived through the construction boom. Right now, we're in the middle of the supply shock. But look at 2026. That's being marked as the inflection point. That's the year when the full, crushing weight of this oversupply is expected to bring the market to a head. And when that point comes, we're likely going to see three scenarios play out. First, a lot of hotels are going to face the great financial squeeze. They're over-leveraged and they'll become distressed assets. Second, we'll see the rise of the professional operator. This is where owners, realizing they're out of their depth, hand the keys over to specialist management firms to try and salvage the asset. And then there's the third group. A savvy few will achieve niche supremacy. They'll be the ones who exit the price war entirely by creating an experience so unique that they can command a premium price. And all of that leaves us with one final, absolutely critical question. This shakeup, this market consolidation, it isn't a question of if it will happen, it's only a question of when. For every single owner and investor out there, the choices you make today, the strategies you put in place right now, will determine everything. So the only real question left is, when the dust settles, on which side of the ledger do you plan on standing?